All right, I think we should get started in the interest of time. Team, thank you for joining this webinar, the series from Low Code Minds on intelligence, intelligent case management solution for conveyancing. We'll hopefully try and wrap this up in an hour. And then if you do have some time, we could take up a few questions, or we'll probably respond back to you as a follow-up discussion. So thank you again. To move on to the next slide. Just as an introduction, in terms of who we are and what we do, as an organization, we are Low Code Minds. We help organizations to be digitally resilient and future fit by delivering solutions using low code technologies. We partner with leading system integration and automation, hyper automation technology companies to deliver these outcomes for customers. In terms of what we generally do here as a solution is we build innovative, in this case, a legal case management solution for conveyancing that helps the organizations to unify people, process, and data, automate the business process of conveyancing, and in doing that, digitally transforming the business. As an organization, we have multiple services. Our services include strategic advisory, services that help customers who are looking for new solutions or new low-code technologies. We also do rapid prototyping and proof of concept, solution development, implementations, and also managed services. As you can see, we are a global company. We have offices spread across the globe, and we focus only on low-code technologies. And this particular webinar series is one of the many that's about to come in terms of innovative legal solutions, that case management solutions that we have built using a low-code technology platform called Appian. Now I'll hand over the rest of the session to Sushmita, who is a senior BA, and she will walk you through the journey of what we're going to show, and then actually show you the application, the case management application in itself. Over to you, Sush.
Thank you, Shri. So as Shri just mentioned, we'll start with a quick overview as to who exactly are the main characters of this particular journey. What we are going to see today is basically a particular client who is Barkfleet Properties, who is interested in selling their lands and plots and is represented by a law firm ABC. So we also have a seller solicitor who is Lily Thompson, who is Miss Lily Thompson, who will be the person who will be uploading the details, assigning the solicitor and the lawyer information. And then we would be identifying a plot buyer, who here is Mr. Tim, who is interested in buying a particular plot. And Barkfleet Properties will be the one who will be sending all the details via, let's say, a client portal, or it could be via email. Now, then we have the seller solicitor once again who checks the dashboard for any risk, uploads all the details which has been provided by the client who is Barkfleet Properties, and then they would be requesting further authority of exchange. Now, that's where we have Barkfleet Properties coming in, receiving that particular email, and they would be providing the approval via email, which Ms. Lily Thompson would be reviewing it based on the AI-based response in the Appian application, which is the conveyancing application, what we are going to review. And then they will be able to prepare and update the contract documents, send the confirmation of document for signatures. So this confirmation document for signatures is going to be done via DocuSign. So it will enable the client to perform the signatures digitally, and they do not have to generate the document, prepare it, print it, and then do the entire process of resending it. And then once the Ms. Lily Thompson reviews this particular signed document, they will be discussing with the buyer. The buyer solicitor here is Mr. Benjamin Franklin, who would be then reviewing the details, who, if they have any questions, they will come back to them. But if all is good, they'll go ahead, update the exchange information, completion details, and then review the final statements by the client. So once all the statements are done, once the monies are in, then we can go ahead and close the matter, which will be done by the solicitor. Now, just to give you a brief, you would be seeing here multiple terminologies like matter, or a matter is nothing but a case in the legal terminology. And we are using the term solicitor, lawyer for the person who is owning the case, who is responsible for the case. So now what we would do is this, we will we will go to the demo application, to the solution application, and we will go through the entire journey from there. Okay. So let's very quickly open up. So what you can see here on the screen is basically the conveyancing management application. I have logged in as Miss Lily Thompson, who is the seller solicitor. Now, Miss Lily Thompson, when she first logs into the dashboard, she would be able to see what are the immediate things to be reviewed at. So for example, let's say if there is something which is a risk or an issue which she identifies via the abortive sales for the past 6 months, where exactly it was very high, what was the reason for it being high. Or let's say this is the chart which helps them to determine what are the total number of matters which are in different stages and where exactly they reside at. Similarly, we have all the details in terms of all open matters, contracts, and even the open instructions. So the conveyancing journey is basically starting from the point where Barkfield Properties is providing the properties or the plots here to basically to be sold out. And once they have provided them, how Lily Thompson will be able to upload these matters into this application, and then they will be then able to process them individually. While doing so, we will also take you through a couple of things, which is basically like how this application will enable deadlines, escalations, automated emails, DocuSign integration, and also the portals, which is the client portals, conversations. So we will go through all this in the next 30 to 35 minutes. So this is the main dashboard which Lily Thompson can view. As we scroll down, you would also observe that we have the client and matter information. Now here I have expanded to Barfleet Properties because they are the client whom we are discussing about. But let me just collapse it once again. So here you would review all the client details which this particular seller solicitor, Lily Thompson, would be able to access. They will be able to work on that particular plots and they will be able to process them. On the right, we have the task list. These are basically the individual task list which appear only for the person who is working on that particular task. So let's say if someone else logs in, their task list will be entirely different because it depends upon the task what they are working on. Now, on the right, you see the My Task. Along with that, you also observe this deadline feature. Here, it gives you a view as to how many days are pending for this particular task to be completed. Now, let's say there can be so many instances where the solicitor who is working on it may feel that we will not be able to complete the deadline, or the client themselves are requested to push the deadline. So what you can very easily do is click on this icon, which will basically update your deadline. You can see the current deadline and you can then go ahead and give a future deadline to it. So let's just give another deadline. If you want, you can update any reasons or remarks or anything you want to update. You can go ahead and update it as well. So you can see that this has now gone moved to 26 days. So this entire view of task list will give the user a capability where they will be able to view them. And in case if some of the deadlines is overdue, so that would be highlighted in red. You can see that it is highlighted in red. So it will ensure that the user is not missing something. And these are the alerts which are very essential. And along with this, we also have automated emails going out to the supervisor, which we will talk about it once we get into the matter. Now, before we get into the matter, what we need to do is that Barkfield Properties has given us the list of all the plots, which we have to go ahead and upload it into this application. Please note, we have assumed here Barkfield Properties is already onboarded by this particular legal firm ABC. And here what we are just going to do is we are uploading those particular details. So here you will see I'm searching by Barkfield Properties because they are the existing customers. Now let's say Mr. Mike Jordan is the contact person, and we can capture the date instructions we have received. Now, very quickly, we have something known as matter fee estimate, document fee, legal costs. So these are some certain costs or certain details which the solicitor will be able to make a good estimate based on the case, based on the details of that particular plot. They will be able to review and update this information before itself. Now, once they have updated their details, you will see that we have given this bulk upload capability here. Many a times, bulk upload is a very crucial thing because there will be vast number of plot details which have to be uploaded. But you will see so efficiently and very easily we are able to upload this particular Excel without any problems. You can just go ahead, click on this particular land, and you will see all the plots pertaining to it. So let's say as a seller solicitor, I want to review the plot information. So I can go ahead, click on that particular plot number. It will bring up a further list of information, which I will be able to go ahead and update it further. So let's say if I want to capture, let's say you can see all this information has been retrieved from the Excel, whatever we had uploaded right here. And you will see we can update if any other details we want to update here. If you want to update, let's say the forecast exchange date, forecast completion date, all this information can be updated at this point of time. So let's say if a buyer is already identified before you can actually process the matter. So this is the place where you can go ahead and add new parties, but we will come to it when we talk about the matter. So let's not go ahead and add it now. Similarly with the schemes. So based on the buyer, there can be multiple schemes in the application. Now these schemes, what you will see in the drop down is very specific to the UK. What you would see that they have something known as first homes, which is basically a provision for the first time home buyers who would be able to receive some concession from the government. Similarly, we have the part exchange. So let's say if the buyer wants to sell their property want to sell their property in place of what they are buying. So that is what is the part exchange. So these schemes you will observe can be easily updated by the settings feature in Appian in the conveyancing management application. So if at all you want to update a particular scheme later point of time, you can just go ahead and click on the settings. But let's say that I don't want to update any of the schemes. Let me just proceed right now and say there aren't any incentives as of now. I can go ahead and submit this instructions. So when we go to this particular screen here, what we are doing is we are assigning a particular fee earner, or you can call them a solicitor who is going to be working on this particular matter. So let me go ahead and submit it. Now we will be back to this dashboard screen where where Lily Thompson will be able to open the Barkfleet properties or basically expand it, and she will be able to view all the plots what we have added here. So let's say all the plot details have been added here. They can go ahead, edit the details if it is required, and they can start working on it. So let's just pick one particular matter for now. So let's say we go ahead with this number 11, which is plot number 11. Now, as soon as you click on the matter, what it brings to you is basically a matter dashboard. Now, this dashboard is very helpful for the user, like you can see on the header, where you would be able to view all the client information. You will be able to view the work type details, the matter partner, fee earner details, the tenure, the purchase price, and even the land address, what was captured via the instructions. Now, on the left, you will observe the milestones. At any point of time, you will be able to view at what stage your matter is residing at. So you will see we have a plot where we will capture the initial plot details. If any changes are required, we can update it. Then we have the inquiry stage where we will be able to capture any of the inquiries received from the buyer side, if there are, and then proceed to the authority of exchange. Then we have the contract documents and then confirmation of deal. So in this manner, you will see how we will process the case, and you will also observe in the conveyancing management application, we have done a series of tasks and we also have some parallel tasks. So this way, it will enable the solicitor to work on the matter and even work on the matter before you reach to that particular step. So you would be able to do the parallel task at any point of time, and we can also go to the series of the task. So let's start with this process. So I'll go ahead and update the client communication. So currently you can see I'm updating with my email ID so that I receive all the emails, and then I will be able to show you how exactly all the other features in this application work. So I've gone ahead, updated it. Let me go ahead and save this detail. So then before I proceed to this plot tab, which basically is reviewing whatever the details we have updated via the Excel sheet and via the instructions and the Excel sheet. Now, before I go there, we need to go ahead and add the parties because we did not add the parties at that point of time. So let's go ahead and add them here. So when you click on the party tab, you can say add new party. And let's say first I want to add the buyer solicitor details. So the buyer solicitor, generally any legal firm will have a set buyer solicitor associated to them. So what you would see here is you can search for a particular buyer solicitor from the list of solicitors. So let me go ahead and type a particular A. And as I said, we are going to work with Mr. Benjamin Franklin throughout this particular matter. And I'm going to update it with my email ID once again, just to review all the emails. So let me go ahead, add the party. Now let's go ahead and add another party, which is the buyer, because a buyer is very important. So our buyer here is Mr. Tim. So let's go ahead, add him as an individual. So first let's select a buyer. And let's say it is Templeton. And let's give an address. So let me very quickly just copy the same address. We can give a different address also. But yes, just for the purposes of this session, I'm going ahead and giving the same address. And you can add this particular party. So you will observe as soon as you add a buyer, there is a conflict check which is raised. So this conflict check is basically essential for any legal firm wherein they need to perform the conflict before they start the processing of the matter. So this conflict check is an internal legal firm check where they verify whether that same buyer is available previously or not, or whether they are a defendant in any other scenarios. So that check is done by them. And once it says as pass and there are no matches, they are good to go forward. But let's say if by any chance there is a scenario where there was a fail, then they can approach the risk team and then take the case forward accordingly. So in case if there was a situation where they need to close the matter, they can go to actions, they can cancel the matter as well. So we have options to cancel or abort the matter somewhere in between as well, because of there can be various reasons like the buyer pulled out or seller is not interested, or like we just saw, if there is a conflict issue. So let me just save this information and let's proceed to the next step where we were in the plot screen. And we reviewed all the information. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a particular scheme. Let's say I'm adding part exchange, and let me just type a particular address for it. So just for the ease, I'm giving the same address. Okay. So now here we are just giving the address with which they are going to exchange the particular property, and they can enter the part exchange value, they can capture the retention amount, what is the tenure. So all the information can be added here. And while we are doing that, I will just go ahead and update this. So you will observe that we have integrated it with Google Editor. So all the documents, what you are seeing is real-time documents, and they are sample documents, what we have picked up from the internet, but they have been converted into the dynamic templates so that it picks up all the dynamic values from the application and presents it to the user when they are running through the process. So now that I have completed the authorization process, I can go ahead, click on the send authority to exchange. So this is the first step where I would be sending the authority to exchange to the seller. And you can see it is pre-populated with the seller information, the recipient details, and the document itself is pre-populated with all the details from the application. Now, this document is now being sent to the seller. So let me just go ahead and send it. Like I said, we have integrated with Google Editor, but we can also do it with SharePoint, or in the legal firm space. Generally, generally they use a document management system called iManage. So we can also integrate with iManage or any other document management system which a particular firm is using. So while we wait for this particular document, let me go ahead, save this information, and we can just go ahead and proceed to the inquiries. So this is the stage where we need to capture any inquiries, what we receive from the buyer solicitor, if any. This is the placeholder where you can update the details. You can capture information like, let's say if they are inquiring about a water treatment plant. So they want to know how far away is it from their site or from their plot. Or let's say they want to inquire about the environmental certificate, which is a must have in the UK geography. So again, for these certificates, we will show you in the settings. We have integrated with EPC, which is basically the UK specific EPC, which is a compulsory mandate, so that they will be able to review it without actually going to their website and reviewing it. Now, we should have been receiving the email. So let me just click here. So you will see that here we have already received the particular email. So this is an email which the client is receiving for them to confirm. Now here we have automated the email in such a way that when the client is approving, it will automatically says approved, and this will send. This associates with the correct matter ID, and in this way they will be able to retrieve the actual email back into the application. So let's go back to the application. Now here, while we enter the inquiries, we will also see that we will be able to sync this particular email, and that particular email will be read by Appian. It's a AI-based email, so which will save the time of the solicitor who is working on this matter. They need not review every email of the e-approval. The system will automatically proceed and check based on the approval response from the client. So before we go there, let me go ahead, add the inquiry as we were discussing about the, let's say about the certificate, environmental certificate. Certificate requested, and let's say they have also asked for the water treatment plan distance. So you can see here what we are doing is we are initiating new tasks. Now, let's say Miss Lily Thompson already knows the response to it. So you can just assign it to yourself. You can give today's date, and you can also provide the response. So let's say a certificate will be sent via client portal shortly, and distance is, let's say, 23 miles away, so there is no issues. So that way, let's say we can go ahead, update this detail. So this is a way you can add an inquiry, you can update the response, and you can, let's say, select the inquiries. This will give you the option to generate the response, which has to be sent to the buyer solicitor. So let me go ahead, click on the generate inquiry response. Now what this will enable me to do is it will give you the option to send the email dynamically to the buyer solicitor. So the buyer solicitor response email has been generated. You will see that I have added this inquiry. This response automatically has been updated. Now, if I want to add something more here, I can go ahead and add some more details here. So let's say there was further queries before I could generate this email, something else came up. So I can go ahead and update the details also. So this way you can see these documents can be updated at any point, and they are all dynamic documents. So let me just say send to this particular buyer solicitor. And while we do that, and I have confirming that all the answers have been confirmed. Now, this is the place where you can sync the approval email which we are going to receive from the client. So you will observe that once we click on the sync e-approval, the response is also captured, and you will also observe that this client approval has also been checked. So this is automated based on the approval. But if you still want to review the response, when you click on this section, you will be able to expand it and view the email body, which is basically it has been approved. So this is one very good example where you can see so quickly the solicitor will be able to update the information, or basically the AI does it for him or her. And now we proceed to the contract stage. So contract is a very essential part of the whole case, because this is the place where either if the client is like someone like Barfleet Properties, which is a huge property firm or a plot firm, where they themselves could also create a contract and send it to this particular law firm. Or it could be a scenario where the law firm creates the particular contracts and then sends it for review to the client. So here we are assuming that the client has sent us the contract. We are confirming that we have received all the detailing of this particular sale, and then we proceed for generation of confirmation of deal. Now here you will observe this confirmation of deal is basically a document which goes to the client once again. Now we have integrated this with DocuSign, which is a provider for digital signatures. Now, let's say if there are any other providers, even that is possible. So again, like I mentioned, these are all sample documents, which we have shown them in dynamic values. So you can see that we have Barclay properties, we have the agreed amount, and this is where the seller is supposed to perform the signature. So let me say yes. So this will enable the signature to be provided by the client. Now, while we wait for that particular client signature to be received in my inbox, we will just quickly show you. Now, let's say while you go through the case, there can be a scenario where you want to view all the documents what have been generated. So you can just go click on this document, view correspondence. You will see all the list of documents what are getting generated and sent out of the application. So at any point of time, you don't have to search for it. It is all visible to you here. Now, let's say you, like I said, this is all integrated with Google Editor. So we also have, let me just quickly show you in my Google Drive. In the Google Drive, you will see for conveyancing management application, all the matters, there is an individual folder which is automatically dynamically created. And when you click on it, you will view all the documents which are generated for that particular matter. So this is completely dynamic. We have shown you for Google Editor, but the same thing can be done for any other document management system as well. Now, by now, I'm sure the email should have come to my inbox. Let's just quickly go to there. So you will see that we have received this email from DocuSign. So let me go ahead, review this particular document. When I click on it, it takes me to the place where I can go ahead and perform the signature. So let me click on this. I confirm that I want to use the electronic signatures. So I review the document as the client. So Barclay Properties reviews this document, gives the signature. So let's say they go ahead, give the signature, they update the date as well. So the date is also added here. So this is completely digital signature, saves the time of the solicitor, of even the paralegal who has to basically print the documents, send it to the client by post, again take the signatures from the client, send it back via post, and then the process of actually scanning it and uploading it. So this digital signature will avoid all the process. It will make it more efficient. But let's say that there are firms who still go with the paper prints, right? So in those scenarios, we still have the capability where you can go ahead, do the mailroom approach, or let's say we also have another solution where we can upload via the mailroom function. So automatically we will be able to read the document and we will be able to assign it to the correct matter. So this is the completed document which has been done by the client. Now, as a solicitor, Ms. Lily Thompson, I will be able to review this document and confirm that it has been signed and there are no other updates required on this particular document. So while we wait for it, so while we wait for it, I will just show you where, okay, it's come up. So this is the confirmation of deal document, which was signed by the seller, which is being dated also by the seller. So let's say I'm happy that the document is good. So we can close it here. So let me go back to the matter which we were working on. So we were at the contract stage. So now that we have reviewed the document, we have received the document, so we can go ahead and confirm that the client signature is available on the confirmation of deal document, and we can go ahead and proceed from here. Now, the next step here is we receive the details from the buyer solicitor. Generally, the buyer solicitor needs to provide the information by a set number of days. Here we have given a certain SLA of 30 seconds. If we do not receive it within 30 seconds, you can then perform the chase cycle. So we will now, you will observe that we will be able to send the automated reminders also. So you can see here, it has popped up here to say send reminder to the buyer solicitor, because the buyer solicitor has not yet sent us the responses. So this will automatically send an email in the background to the buyer solicitor without the user intervening in terms of all the templates, because all these are dynamically generated templates. So based on the client, if there is a different template, even those can be handled via the templates or the document management. So let's say I have sent the email and I'm happy with all the documents and the buyer solicitor has provided it back. So let's say I received the signed transfers or the lease from the buyer solicitor. So we are good to go for the exchange stage. Now, while we are in the exchange stage, let's say I go ahead and update the actual exchange date as today, and what we next have to do is perform the actual exchange of the contracts. So this can be done either by formula A, B, or C in the legal terminologies. Basically, formula A is where the same solicitor performs the both side of the contract, the buyer and the seller, or it could be formula B where there are two solicitors involved, like in our scenario. So let me go ahead and select formula B. So you will also observe that we have provided tool tips which will be very helpful for novice, or let's say for the people who have recently just joined the firm and they are in the training. So these tool tips can be added to different fields, or it can altogether be like a portal where they can view all the details which is pertaining to all the terminologies. So let's say I'm happy with the information. Now, before I start generating the completion statements, there is one more thing which is very essential for the statements, that is the fee and disbursements. So like I said, cost is a parallel task. At any point of time, you will be able to update the cost information. So let's say I go ahead, add the solicitor cost. I want to add, let's say, the bank TT fees. So let's say the transfer fees of the bank is some £23. And then we have also the ID checks, because the identity checks were done right in the initial while the client was onboarded. And then we also have, let's say, the office copies, or let's say there are some plot plans and the land plans which you have retrieved from the HM land registry. So all this information can be added here, but still there can be scenarios where a firm may need more type of costs. So how you can do is very simple. Go to the settings, click on the cost, click on the manage master lookups, and we'll be able to update the cost and disbursements from there. We'll go to that very quickly. Let me just quickly go through that, go through this first. So the completion statements is very essential for this entire process. So let's go back to the exchange stage and let's click on the generate completion statements. So these are again a dynamic templates which are generated based on the details what we have captured. So there are two things. One is the covering letter or the standard letter which goes out. And the second thing is the statement itself, which goes to the client for review. And if they're happy, they can send it back to us. And so you can see all the values are pre-populated. The completion balance is calculated based on the values what we have captured in the application. So these details are sent out. Now, during this entire process, if there are any conversations the client wants to have with us, we will show you how they can do it. But let's just finish the completion. So we have the completion where you can capture the date of completion, if deposit was held to order, if there are any balances, and then if you want to capture any notes like we are proceeding to post completion, or let's say some documents have not been received or received, you can capture it here. Then we proceed to the final, which is the cost. Now, once you have received all the fee and disbursements from the client, and of course, the buyer solicitor has sent in all the monies, it can be either sent to the client directly or it can be sent to the firm. So once all the transactions have been handled, you will be then able to generate and send the completion notice. So once again, this is a dynamically generated template, which the user will be able to review it, and they will be able to view what is the final amounts which they are going to be receiving. So this will show you how exactly we are receiving this content, this particular email. Again, like I said, this is in Google Editor, but you will be able to integrate with SharePoint or any other document management systems like iManage, which legal firms do. So now once we have completed this step where we have received the documents, where we have done all, so basically it is known as the post completion, you can go to actions and then you can close the matter from here. If at any point of time during the course, you need to add new tasks, add new actions, you can do that from here. You can cancel the matter. Now we are just going and closing the matter. So let's say we are done, all the documents received and sent, and we are going to close it. So this way you are closing the matter. You will also see we have some peripheral actions here where you can do reassign, where you can add notes. So let's say if you have a conversation with the client and you want to capture it somewhere, this is the place where you can do. We have audit, which is very essential. You can go ahead and update the audit. Now, very quickly, let's go to the client portal. So let me go back to the home page. So what you saw today till now is basically Lily Thompson, who logged in as the solicitor. Before we get into the client portal, we also have someone who is a team operations. So this is someone who is like a supervisor, or let's say you are the head of conveyancing and you are interested in knowing your team's productivity or the efficiencies. So this is how you can do. For the purposes of this session, we have considered all the logins in one. So you can see I changed my login to the team operations, or let's say head of conveyancing. They will be able to view who are the team members, what are the teams. So generally the teams are based on offices, and you can group them by teams. You can view all the data. If you want to review a particular matter, you can search for it, or you can simply click on it. Now, very quickly, let me change the login for the client who is basically here, Barkfleet Properties. Now, Barkfleet Properties, how we have configured for the time being is you click on the report, you will be able to view the client portal. So this is the client portal or the client application where Barkfleet Properties will be able to view all the information pertaining to the plot details, and they can review the statuses, they can export this information, they can upload any document during the course of time. Let's say if they want to upload any authorization, approvals, they can do that here. They want to send a new list of plots, they can do that from here. Now let's see something known as the chat collaboration feature of Appian, which we have used it here in the client portal. So let's say if the client wants to have a quick discussion, or they want to discuss about a particular plot. So let's say, hi Lily, I want to discuss about plot number 25. Can we talk? And they go ahead, they post this particular discussion, and as a solicitor, Lily Thompson, she will be able to view all the conversations. Currently, we have configured all the configurations conversations on this particular tab. So these are the different clients. So we have Barfleet Properties, whom we are conversing with right now. You will see all the history appearing, and this is what we just mentioned. So let's say what Lily responds. Yes, sure. I will schedule a meeting for, let's say, 23rd August. And this way, they will be able to converse very quickly, efficiently, no time taken, and it will always be there available for the solicitor to review it, because they would be looking into this application so that they can process all the cases. So we have reviewed through the journey, which involves the seller solicitor. And of course, in while the seller solicitor is going through their journey, we discussed about the buyer solicitor and the client also. And we also went through the head of conveyancing, or let's say a supervisor role, and then the client as well. Now, there are few reports which you can also view as a fee earner, or let's say as a supervisor you want to view. So I changed my login once again to the solicitor. So the view is basically different for them. The reports are matters. You have instructions you can view all the plots which is pertaining to all the clients and not just one specific client. So this gives them an overview overall report which you can email them, you can download them, and of course you can refresh them if you want to update the settings. Now, what we have gone through is the actual application workflow. Now let's go to an interesting part, which is basically the settings. Now, most often what happens for every small change, we need to go to the vendor or to the developer to update the details. But this will give the power to the business admin, or let's say to the super user, to themselves go ahead and update the details. So very simple things like date format. So you can see that today's date format is so and so. You can go ahead and update it to say US, UK. So whichever formats which is required, or let's say you have something custom like January in words. So all those things can be configured from settings. Or let's say you want to go ahead and uh, update a particular scheme, like I was saying. So I want to update a new scheme for Barkfleet Properties. I can go ahead, add a scheme. So let me just add one more scheme. So this will very immediately add the scheme. But adding a scheme is not just is not just enough. You might have some additional tasks pertaining to that scheme. How do you do it? So this will give you the power to just go ahead, add a new task. Let's say I want to receive a certain document. So before that, let me just upload some document here. If at all I need to upload some document, which I need to generate, I can generate it here. So let's say this is a sphere contract document, which is totally new today, which let's say the UK regulations for conveyancing has said that it is a must-have requirement. So we say that we want to say receive signed sphere document. And we can select what type of tenures it pertains to, what type of schemes it pertains to, what is the deadline for it to be received. So this is completely configurable here. Now, once I do submit, I will observe in my home page. So let me just open as a separate tab. I'll observe that we have them already available, all the tasks for that particular receive additional tasks. So once I click on this one, you can see I'll click on the one of the receive additional task. I will be able to say if I received it, I can add them. So this gives you the option to basically add new tasks at any point of time. You need not wait for the development to be done or any other effort involved, because it is just the super user role who will be able to create new tasks based on the business requirements. So this is how you can do the additional workflow task. If you want to update the lookups, like I said, the cost and disbursement, you can do that from here. If you want to manage notifications, so let's say you want to send the reminders, escalations over a period of time. So what is the period of time you want to do? You can set it up from here itself. Now, the notifications we did not go through in the email. Let me quickly show you a few new notifications which would have appeared. So you can see here, so these are the notifications like the alert emails which are going out. Now, this is one of the alert emails if we had not completed within a period of 1 week of the exchange date. Currently, we have configured it for like 2 seconds, but ideally it will be for 1 week, and then you will receive this escalation emails. And you can directly click on this and you can go to the task, because you would generally be logged into this application. Or let's say even if you're not, it will show you the login screen. You can log in and it will directly take you to the task where you need to work on it. So these are the escalation emails, again, automated emails which have been configured in this particular application. So let's go back to the settings. On the right, you will see the external integrations. Now, for example, like we discussed about the environmental certificate. So for a particular address, you will be able to retrieve this. This is completely integrated. This is real-time data. So if any information has to be acquired, you can just come to the settings and you can click on EPC search and retrieve the certificate for a particular house or a plot. And similarly, we have LEM Verify. We allow initiating of the ID checks of a particular client. If at any point of time you want to reinitiate identity check, you can do it from here. Company house. This is again something like, let's say you want to search a detail of a particular company. So I'm just hitting on lowcodeminds. So this will give you real-time data. So you can just search for this lowcodemind information and you will see our address is appearing and all the details pertaining to the company appears here. Okay. And then we have the HM land registry. We have integrated with the HM land registry as well, because this is very essential for the UK geography once again, because here you will be able to view all the companies or all the leads listed under HM land registry. So here you're seeing a sample data, but of course, when we do the full integration, you will be able to view the actual information. So when I click on it, it brings up all the leases, for example, here pertaining to this particular period of time. So this is in all, overall, we have covered the conveyancing part. And now what we will do is this, let me go back to the slide very quickly. I will just quickly summarize what we saw today. So this is what we went through today. We went through an end-to-end conveyancing journey, completely powered by Appian, and integrations. We have seen a couple of integrations. Then we also went through the application and you saw how intuitive it is in terms of the user able to progress through the application without any issues. Once again, we saw the client portal. We did view the case matter status. We saw the real-time collaboration with the customer and the solicitor. And then the efficient bulk upload process as well. And then we also viewed the dynamic templates and document generation. So, and finally, we also did see the settings, which is the configuration capability by the super users for simple workflow changes. So all these changes can be done so as to reduce the dependency on IT, and you would be able to perform these changes very quickly, efficiently, without any hassle. So this brings us to the end of the solution. And I think we will now consider if there is any questions we want to take. And this is our contact address as well, email address, so that if at all you want to reach us out, you can also reach us out on this particular email IDs. Okay. Let me just zoom it in for a second. So these are our email IDs. You can reach us out.